let us discuss some tips how to pass prelims exam. As you all know, the UPSC preliminary exam is fast approaching. We should follow certain techniques in passing the exam. There are two ways in solving prelims paper. One is learning concepts and going for mock tests, or second process is reverse engineering. There is a pattern in UPSC exam. You can find this pattern. The first thing is you have to collect all the old UPSC preliminary question papers and all the question papers conducted by UPSC from last 20 to 30 years, including CAPF examination question papers, including Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner question papers. You just collect all the GS multiple choice question papers conducted by UPSC. There you can find a pattern of the exam. For example, if you see old question papers of UPSC, they are giving every year about an index. For example, ease of doing business index or International Financial Stability Report or World Economic Outlook. Like that, every year you see a pattern that UPSC will give questions on indexes and who will give the particular report or index. And the second topic is general UPSC is asking questions on Environment Red Data Book IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, and tribal groups and the locations. And if you observe the tendency, one question will be regularly asked in ISRO website, the latest developments in ISRO from last 1 or 2 years. In the same way, the latest science and technology developments in NASA and the latest missiles from India, they are asking certain questions which have some pattern. In the same way, if you take polity, in polity you have certain questions from directive principles, fundamental duties and fundamental rights. Regularly from Article 44 to 51, from Article 44 to 51 of the Indian Constitution, they are giving questions. There is a chance that you may get a question on fundamental duties also. Apart from that, recently questions are coming from rights issues. If you see 2017 prelims question paper, there are 2 questions on labor reforms. For example, disabled rights, women rights, child rights, labor rights, environmental rights, all the rights issues are very important. Recently, Government of India launched Shram Suvidha portal to bring out transparency and accountability in labor reforms and labor laws, and to make labor laws reach to the common man, Shram Suvidha portal was launched. This type of questions on rights issues will be asked. Apart from that, in polity, Panchayati Raj system. This year, Panchayati Raj is celebrating 25 years. So, you may get minimum 2 to 3 questions on Panchayati Raj system. If you can predict properly the question paper, some questions might appear. In the same way, current affairs. For current affairs, you have to revise the old PAB. Last 1 year, exactly, if you are writing exam on June 3rd, you have to start your current affairs preparation from last year. For example, any recent development in electoral reforms or any Supreme Court judgments or PAB releases or new bills and acts passed by India or foreign policy initiatives by Government of India, for example, Project Mosam, Ministry of Culture, or what is the 29th country in NATO, Montenegro, or UN Habitat Summit, or headquarters of IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency, or who are the members in APEC, which of the following country is not a member in APEC. If you can focus in IR for 2 days in regional groupings, sometimes they are asking international NGOs. Hardly there are 10 to 20 famous NGOs. like Amnesty International, Transparency International, Greenpeace International, Medicine Sans Frontiers, Reporters Without Borders. Like that, there are around 10 to 20 famous NGOs. If you can read all the NGOs, there is a probability that you can get a question in that. Apart from that, art and culture is gaining very importance, so much of importance, like dances, varied dances. Sattariyam from Assam, like Kuchipudi from Andhra Pradesh. You have to know the dances and the dance forms, particularly folk dances, which are very famous now. And in art and culture, paintings, particularly folk paintings. And every year if you see, you are getting questions on Buddhism and Jainism compulsorily. And books and others in ancient and medieval India. Books and others in ancient and medieval India. Apart from that, every year 1 or 2 questions from Buddhism. Buddhism. You have to focus more on Buddhism. This year, you may get probably a question on Indus Valley civilization, because Indus Valley civilization, the historians told, it dates back to much more earlier times rather than what we think. So there is a chance of getting good questions on Indus Valley civilization. In the same way, in the modern India, 100 years home rule movement, Champaran Satyagraha, Tinkatiya system, 3/20th of indigo cultivation, and unibescent, Indian National Congress and the presidents of Indian National Congress, and the famous resolutions in Indian National Congress before independence. If you see a pattern, every year, every alternative year, there will be a question on INC. In the same way, Quit India movement and various stages in that after Quit India movement, all these things form questions in modern India. In economy, you can read basic questions like what is disguised unemployment, what is stagflation, the basic questions. Then you go for international economy. Now focus is turning to international economy also. And economy, the trend you should follow. The recent buzzwords in economy, the recent words in economy. For example, forex reserves contain, special drawing rights means. These type of questions they are asking, including important terms in economy in the recent past. Every year, as you think, GST is very important this year, and new taxation laws. Apart from that, new policies of the government, new economics of policies of the government, NPAs, non-performing assets, bankruptcy, insolvency code is important. Coming to environment, as you all know, Indian Forest Service exam is being conducted, preliminary exam is being conducted along with civil services exam. We can expect good number of questions from environment. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th ICSE textbooks and basic words, terminology in environment. For example, what is ecological niche? What is ecological character? What is ecological pyramid? What is food chain? What is food web? These things are being asked regularly. Some environmental terms are being asked. This you can read from glossary of any NCERT book, ICSE book on environment. If you revise glossary, in the same way, different crop burning practices, and this year there is an ample chance of getting question on air pollution. As you all know, air pollution is appearing always in the newspapers. Apart from that, environment, in environment, basic concepts like what is vitrification, what is global dimming, what is vitrification, what is global dimming. In the same way, environmental NGOs are also very important. Apart from that, Paris deal, UNFCCC, and apart from environment, you have WTO issues, Buenos Aires summit, and one international summit in environment and regional group summits and international summits, their locations like APEC summit, SARC summit. SARC summit was not held from last 3 years. All the summits and the locations, Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, they will also be asked. Apart from that, you have art and culture, environment, international relations, then go to your geography. In geography, atlas, focus more on atlas and take NCERT books, revise it. Basically, in the recent news, for example, we have Balochistan issue, we have Catalonia referendum, we have Kurdistan referendum, or Egypt. Bordering countries of these areas might be a question, or they may ask What are the bordering countries of Caspian Sea, Dead Sea, Mediterranean Sea? They may ask such type of questions. In the same way, you may get a question on various recent happenings in the world, like Rakhine State, Rohingya issue, or human rights problems in the world, or UN human rights, United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All these things might be a question for you. So if you properly observe, there is a trend and pattern in prelims. What you should do is take at least 100 to 150 question papers from UPSC and mock question papers. Every day take 30 questions. Don't just do questions and keep aside. You just read the concept of each question. For example, 2 years back a question was asked, which department will prepare budget? That question was repeated. If you observe, at least 30 to 40 concepts in UPSC are repetitive. If you take 100 to 150 question papers, don't write the exam and keep the question paper away. You practice the question paper. If you write the exam for 2 hours, you should practice the question paper for 5 hours. If you write the exam for 2 hours, you should practice the question paper for 5 hours. This is the winning edge for prelims. I'll keep on telling prelims tips from now on for every week. Thank you very much.